everyone, welcome to your 45-minute gentle flow practice. I'm Angie. As always, you don't need anything for your practice, but I always like to grab something that's a bit comfortable. Today I've just got a blanket, but if you'd like, you can grab yourself a couple of bed pillows as well. I'll show you what to do with those as we continue through. So we're going to be starting off in a child's pose. What I like to do, especially if I'm on a hard surface, is just grab the blanket and just fold it up a couple of times, take it across the mat, so that you've got a little bit of padding for your knees and for your feet. Then if you'd like, take the knees as wide as the mat and the big toes to touch at the back. If that doesn't feel comfortable, feel free to bring your knees together, and then you're going to fold yourself forwards. If your forehead doesn't come to the ground, you might want to grab a pillow or something to bring the ground up towards you. And if child's pose isn't very comfortable for you, just come to lie flat on your back or flat on your front, so that you just feel a little bit more calm and relaxed. In this gentle flow practice, I really want you to think more about just moving the body in a way that feels good and that feels nourishing and calm, rather than thinking about achieving anything. So with that in mind, letting yourself rest down towards the ground in whatever pose you've chosen. Breathing heavily in towards the belly. Feeling your hips melt down, your shoulders relax, your arms soften. Find space in the jaw. And take this moment as permission to fully relax. Take this moment as permission to fully let go. Imagine your pelvis getting heavier and your spine growing longer. Imagine your breath deepening down towards the belly, into the sides of your ribcage, and down towards your lower back. Each breath taking longer than the last. Take a deep breath in and a slow sigh out. Hear your breath against the mat beneath you. Slow breath in and slow sigh out. The last one like that. Slow breath in and slow breath out. Gently lifting your head away from the ground, looking forward towards the front of your mat. And just gently bring your weight forwards, firstly onto the forearms, and just walk yourself up. So the arms are long on your hands, and then just walk your knees in line with your hips. Just make any movement that you feel like you need for your knees and for your ankles and for your lower legs. You can leave the blanket beneath the knees if you find that's quite a nice little bit of padding. So make sure you're now in your tabletop. So you've got your hands directly underneath your shoulders and your knees directly underneath your hips. Find a slight engagement through the core, not too much. And just notice how this feels with your hands against the ground, your hands against your mat. Supported but not so strong. As you inhale, lift your chest forwards and let the tailbone lift up to arrive in a cow pose. As you exhale, draw the belly in, dome through the upper back, let your chin tuck towards the chest for your cat pose. Twice more like that. As you inhale, lifting the chest forwards and the tailbone up for cow. And exhale to round the spine into cat. Last 2 times. Lifting chest forwards into tailbone up into cow. And exhale to round into cat. Inhaling now to find a neutral spine. Then tucking your toes, make sure you've got some grip against the floor, so just ravel the blanket up if you need to. And then slightly lift your hips, but keep your knees bent. So coming into a downward facing dog, but a very gentle one. Again, it doesn't need to be too technical. Don't worry too much about your technique. Just want you to feel the body. And feel into those nuances. So where is there comfort, where is there discomfort? And in any part of the body that doesn't need any effort, can you relax it? So the jaw, the face particularly. Your knees are bent. And your spine is hanging from your pelvis. Even with the knees bent, you can actually let your heels glide down towards the ground, and you might start to feel a little lengthening through the backs of the legs. Flow with your breath. Inhale. And exhale. Another inhale. And as you exhale, slowly lower your knees down towards the ground. Sink your pelvis back towards the heels to come into a closed-legged child's pose. As you inhale, you're going to walk the hands back towards your knees and slowly roll yourself up, like you're stacking your vertebra one on top of the other until you come up to seated. Once you find length through the spine, lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then slide them down the back. Then bring your hands together but keep your arms long, feel the palms meet. And as you inhale, rise the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Mini back bend here, so just imagine your chest is lifting up. You don't need to go into a full back bend, just thinking about the spine lengthening. And notice how that engages through your core to lift the chest up. And as you exhale, take your hands down to the ground, finding your tabletop again. As you inhale, lift your chest forwards and lift the tailbone up to find cow. And as you exhale, just sink your pelvis back towards your heels to find your child's pose again. Going through this little floor flow a few more times, walking your hands back towards your knees, rolling up through the spine. Bringing your hands together, palms meet, lift the fingertips up, lift the chest high, find space. Exhale, take your hands down to the ground. Feel the palms meet, then inhale, lift your chest forwards into cow pose. And exhale to lower the pelvis down to your child's pose. Inhale, walking the hands back, rolling the body back up to seated. Hands together, fingertips lift high, the chest lifts. Exhale, take the hands down to the floor to find your tabletop. Inhale to bring the chest forwards into cow pose. This time as you exhale, you're going to tuck your toes and lift your hips up to that downward facing dog again that we found before. This time as you inhale, you're going to roll the body forwards like you're rippling through the spine, lower back, middle back, upper back, into your plank pose. Then as you exhale, you're going to lower your knees to the ground and you're going to send it back into child's pose. Pelvis goes down towards the heels. Like that again, walking hands back. Now you're quite familiar with this part, really allow the body to move with breath. Rolling yourself up, hands come together, fingertips lift high, chest lifts. Exhale, take the hands down to the ground. Inhale to find your cow pose. Exhale, tucking toes to lift up into down dog. Inhale to roll the body forwards into plank. Exhale, lower the knees to the ground. This time we're bending the elbows to lower the chest into a modified chaturanga. Once you're down to the floor, untuck the toes. Lift the chest forwards into baby cobra. As you exhale, release it back into your child's pose. Again, moving with breath, hands come back, roll the body up. So sit back onto the heels, hands together, arms reach up, chest lifts. Exhale, take the hands down to the ground to find tabletop. Inhale, chest reaches forwards into your cow pose. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward dog. Slow-mo moving. Inhale, roll the body forwards into plank. Exhale, lower knees to the ground, lower chest, modified chaturanga. Inhale to lift chest forwards into baby cobra. If you want more of a stretch out for your belly, you can lift up into full cobra if that feels nice. Just pressing into the hands. Then releasing the belly back down to the floor. And then taking it back into child's pose. Just one more time like that. Walking the hands back, the inhale rolls you up to seated. Hands come together, fingertips lift. Exhale, take the hands to the ground. Inhale to come into your cow pose. Exhale to tuck toes and lift up into down dog. Inhale to ripple forwards into plank. Exhale, lower knees to the ground, lower chest, modified chaturanga. Inhale to lift forwards, and then maybe lift all the way up into your full cobra. Exhale to release, and send the pelvis back to the heels to come into child's pose. Well done, guys. Option to stay in your regular child's pose, or you can take it into a wide-legged child's pose. We're going to take the hands over towards the left-hand side of the mat. Let your forehead come back down to the floor or something that's padding up the forehead. You're going to keep that right sit bone heavy, so right side of the pelvis stays drawing down. And you're really reaching through the right arm. You can even place that right hand on top of the left hand to find more length and space through the right hand side of your body. What I want you to do now is imagine this left lung doesn't exist, and all of your breath is travelling in towards the right hand side of your rib cage, filling up that right lung. So what we're doing here is stretching out the side body. We're stretching out the muscles that sit in between the ribs, your intercostal muscles. And as you stretch those out, it just creates more space for breath. A lot of the time when we're feeling stressed or anxious, those muscles start to contract. So we start to feel like the breath is shorter and shallower because the muscles around the rib cage are tightening up. So this is a really nice way to stretch them out and really allow the breath into that space. Gently walking the hands back through center. Just come up to tabletop. Just make any movement that feels good, perhaps rolling the rib cage around in a circle or just letting the head sway from side to side. And then bring yourself back down into child's pose. We're going to walk the hands over towards the right hand side of the mat, keeping that left side of the pelvis really heavy. Left hand goes on top of right hand if it reaches, forehead to the ground or to something to stabilize. And just like we did before in this pose, I want you to imagine now that the right lung doesn't exist. You're only breathing into the left hand side of the ribcage, into the left lung. Feeling those muscles in the rib cage expand. Lengthen and soften. Slowly walking the hands back through center. Bring the body back up into tabletop. Tucking your toes, making sure you've got a bit of friction against your mat beneath you, and then lifting your hips back into your downward dog. You won't be needing this for a while, so if you're using your blanket, just throw your blanket over to one side. Then with the next inhale, slowly walking your hands back towards your feet, taking yourself to the back of your mat. Let your torso dangle heavily over the thighs. Really let your head feel floppy and heavy. And take your arms behind your back, interlace your fingers, reach your arms beyond your head. If that doesn't feel comfortable, keep your hands towards the ground. You can even rest your hands on the ankles if you need a bit more support. If you've got your arms overhead, take another breath in. And then exhale, release the arms, straight them down beside your feet. And slowly, like I did before, rolling up through the spine, stacking one vertebra at a time. Easing tension away from the lower back as you come all the way up. Trying to keep the head as heavy as possible. Arms heavy, until you come all the way up to standing. Once you arrive up, let your head float on top of the neck. Let the shoulders come up to the ears and then slide them down the back. From here, bring your weight onto your left foot. And slowly bring that right knee in towards the chest. Interlace your fingers. Take your hands around the right leg and draw the right leg in. From here, you're going to take that right foot around in circles 3 times one way. And 3 times round the other way. Draw your knee just a little bit closer. And see if you can use your core to keep that knee exactly as it is as you take away the hands. Don't worry if it drops a little bit. Take your arms up and then out towards the side, like you're trying to press the air away from you. Then we're going to bring the arms down beside the body and the foot down to the floor at the same time. So you try to time this as you bring arms and foot down to the floor, still breathing. At the exact same time, the arms meet and the foot meets the ground. Just bring the weight onto the right foot now, bringing your left knee in towards your chest. Interlace your fingers. Take your hands around the left knee and draw the left knee in. And taking that left foot around in circles 3 times one way. And then 3 times the other way. Drawing that left knee a little bit closer. See if you can use your core to keep the knee where it is. Don't worry if it drops just a little. Release the hands. Take the arms up first. And then press the air away from you as you take your arms to the side. Now trying to take your arms and your leg down towards the ground. And the foot meets the floor. And the hands meet the side of the body at the same time. Shift the weight forwards and back or side to side from each foot. And tend the palms to face out to the side, lift the arms all the way up. And let the palms meet at the top. Mini back bend if that feels good, pushing the hips forwards. And as you exhale, fold your body forward, you can bend the knees if you need to. As you inhale, find space and length. As you bring the hands onto the shins and lift the chest forwards. As you exhale, walk your hands towards the front of your mat, arriving in a plank pose. From here, you're going to step your right foot up to the outside of your right hand. Then from there, you're going to let your hips sink down. If this is a bit too strong for you, you can take your left knee to the floor at any time. Keeping that left leg long. If it's long, you're going to make sure it's nice and strong and activated. So knee is nice and long, the left heel is pushing back, the hips are sinking down. Now try to lift your chest forwards and notice what happens to that right leg. If you can, try to keep that right foot pressing down to the ground. We sometimes do have it where the right knee comes out to the side and you come onto the blade of the right foot, but for this one, just keep that right foot pressing down and grounded. Follow another 2 long breaths. And then as you exhale, we're going to take the left knee to the ground if it's not already. Walk your right foot now into the center line of the mat. Now you're going to press down through your right foot and lift your arms up. You're going to let your hips sink down just a little. Try not to let them sink all the way down so you get this arching through the spine and the belly drawing out. Try to keep a slight engagement through your glutes, your bum muscles, so you're really supported through your lower spine and your pelvis. From here, bring your hands together, interlace the fingers. Just press your hands against the right thigh. If you want to go deeper, if you're feeling a little bit more stable, you can interlace the fingers and place them behind your head. And then let your chest look up towards the ceiling. And then just let your body sway from side to side. So you're just finding a little bit of movement in the upper spine. If you don't feel stable enough to do this, then just take the hands back onto the right thigh. Strong through the lower body and really open and spacious through the upper body. Taking the hands back down to the ground. You're going to lift that right arm up towards the ceiling to find a twist. Option to stay here, you can lengthen that back leg if you'd like. One more breath in. As you exhale, bring your right elbow onto your right thigh. You're going to turn your left toes out towards the side. So left heel is going to come to the ground. That left leg is just externally rotating. And you're going to press down through the right elbow. Start to unfurl that left arm as it lifts up towards the ceiling. See if you can, instead of letting your weight sink down into that right shoulder, try to lift up and away. If you don't feel any stretch along the right leg, try to push slightly further into the ground with your right foot. And you can even maybe start to press slightly into the right thigh with your right elbow. Make sure that right knee is drawing towards the right little toe. One more breath in. From here, you're going to bring your left arm towards the back of the mat. It's just going to help you bring yourself up, engage through your core, and then bring yourself up into Warrior Two. So you can have a little lengthen through that right leg and then bend back into it, just to give your right leg a little bit of a break. Let your shoulders release down, feel heavy, and imagine your rib cage is trying to knit together. Take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, windmill the arms down to frame the front foot. And slip your right foot back into plank. You can either take it through a vinyasa flow like we did before, or you can lift the hips up to come straight into your down dog. Vinyasa flow looks like this, lowering knees, chest or chaturanga. Then inhaling to come into baby cobra or up dog. And exhaling to take it back into down dog. Another inhale brings the hands back towards the feet, arriving at the back of the mat. Take an inhale to lengthen through the spine. As you exhale, fold. This time we're going to hold here in this forward fold. Relax your head. You've got the option of either taking the first 2 fingers around the big toes and just letting yourself draw forwards. Remember, it's gentle flow, so not too much pushing and pulling and forcing. Nice and easy. There's nowhere to get to. You can either do that, or you can just let your hands hang like we did before. You can maybe take the arms behind the back again, draw the arms beyond the head. Whatever feels better for you and your body at this very moment. Thinking about what your body wants to do, what it would like to do, rather than what it should do. So really just taking the time to enjoy this stretch. Let your breath almost circulate around the edges of this pose. Gently releasing the hands, and then we're going to bend the knees and roll the body up to standing. Stacking one vertebra at a time, all the way up. And roll the shoulders up to the ears and let them slide down the back. Just sway the head from side to side, stretching out through the neck. And you might even want to take those circles, take the head around in circles. Perhaps 3 times one way, exploring every corner of your neck. And then 3 times the other way. When you've done that, just let your head come back to center. And let the eyes flicker open if they're not already. So we're going to bring the weight onto the left foot again. You're going to bring your right knee in towards the chest. So you've got the option of either holding here, or you can come into a tree pose. You're going to turn that right knee slightly out to the side. You're going to place your foot either onto your ankle or your calf, or you're going to place that foot onto the top of the left thigh. I'm just going to turn around and mirror you so you can see me. Never place the foot on the knee, because the knee joint needs to be protected. You don't want that extra pressure from the foot against the joint, because after a while that joint will start to wear away the cartilage underneath the kneecap. So make sure your knee is always happy. You're going to either place the foot onto the top of the thigh, and the thigh presses into the foot and the foot presses into the thigh, or you're going to take the foot down to the calf or the ankle. So just take a variation that suits you today. If you've gone for the ankle variation, you might want to have a little go at closing down the eyes and notice what happens in your body. It's a little bit more tricky to balance with the eyes closed, so you've got the foot there to catch you if you fall. Notice what happens to your breath as well, and perhaps a slight tension builds up in the jaw. Can you relax that? Can you find a slower breath? Last breath. And then slowly taking that right foot to the floor. Just swaying the weight from side to side. Bring the weight now onto the right foot, bringing the left knee in towards the chest. Either you can hold here, or you can turn that left knee out to the side, place the foot onto the ankle or the calf, or you're bringing that foot onto the top of the right thigh. Nether at the knee, make your choice, and then just take the hands back to heart center. And if your foot is at the ankle, you might want to have a little play around with closing down the eyes. How does that feel? What happens? Does the body get a little bit nervous that you might fall over? And how does that nervousness feel physically in your body? Well done, last breath. And then slowly taking that left foot down to the ground. Swaying the weight from side to side again. And taking the arms all the way around and up again. A little back bend if that feels nice, pushing the hips forwards. And exhale, fold yourself down. As you inhale, lifting the chest forwards into a baby cobra, sorry, not into a baby cobra, into a halfway lift, lifting the chest forwards. Exhale, you're walking the hands forwards into a plank pose. From your plank, you're using your obliques to step that left foot up to the top of the mat, to the outside of the left hand. Option to lower right knee to the ground if you'd like. Option to keep that back leg long. Strong through the back leg if it's long, and then lift your chest forwards and feel your pelvis sink down. Take another 2 breaths. And with the next exhale, you're going to take your right knee to the ground. Shuffle that left foot back into the center of the mat. And then using the inhale, lifting the arms up, and then just letting the pelvis sink down. Again, keeping that slight activation through your hips, so you're not just sinking down all the way into flexibility. Really try to keep it controlled. Then maybe interlacing the fingers and taking the hands onto the left thigh. Or if you want to go a little deeper, the hands come to behind the back of the head. You let the head just rest in the hands, and maybe just taking the body from side to side. If it doesn't feel stable to do so, just come back with the hands on the knees, with the hands on the left thigh. Lovely, guys. And then taking the hands down to the floor. Lifting your left arm up towards the ceiling, either holding here or you can tuck the back toes and lengthen up the back leg. Enjoying that nice rotation through the spine. From here, we're going to bring the left elbow onto the left thigh. You're going to turn your right heel to the ground, so right toes turn out to the side. And then you're going to unfurl that right arm, lifting it up towards the ceiling. And again, try not to sink down into that left shoulder, lifting up and away. So you're strong through the leg. Strong through that front leg. Lifting the right arm up, find more space, and again finding more breath through the right hand side of the body. Perhaps putting a bit more pressure into the left thigh with the left elbow. From here, you're going to reach your right arm towards the back of your mat. And then use your core to bring yourself up into your warrior two. Just lengthen out through that left leg to give that left leg a break. And then bend back into it for your warrior two. Last breath. Slowly windmilling the arms down to frame the front foot, stepping your left foot back into plank and taking it through your vinyasa flow or just lifting the hips back up into downward dog. Relaxing the head. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. As you exhale, let your knees melt down to the ground. Untuck your toes and let your pelvis sink down to the heels for child's pose. Then bring your hands back in line with your knees and roll yourself up to sit back onto the heels. Just taking the pelvis off to one side and swing the legs around towards the front. Bring the soles of your feet together and turn your knees out to the side. Take your hands onto your feet and inhale, find length. And exhale, fold yourself forwards. So you might not want to go very far, you might want to keep the body exactly as it is like this. You might want to keep the hands behind the back, on the floor behind the back. So you can just find a more lengthened space that way. Or if you want to go for a more restorative variation, just let your body hang forwards. Just again, do what's right for your body now. Let a breath in, bring you length through the spine. And let a breath out, bring you back up. So we've got two variations for this one. We're going to either just cross the right leg in front of the left and come into a forward fold to stretch out the glutes. If you want to, you can come into pigeon pose if you know where you're going. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can come into shoelace pose. It's going to mirror you as we go into this. So you're going to have the left heel coming in towards the right bum cheek. You're going to have the right leg coming over the top of the left. So I like to just bring my weight forwards and just shuffle things around a little bit, then send my pelvis back down to the ground. If this doesn't feel right for your knees or for your hips, just come back to your cross-legged position instead. Once you're there, start to fold yourself forwards and breathe. Walking the hands back. If you're in your pigeon, just come up to cross-legged with the right leg in front. Now take your left arm across the right leg. Take the right hand to the floor behind you. Take an inhale to lengthen. Exhale to rotate towards the right hand side. Another breath in. And exhale to de-rotate towards the left hand side. And just bring yourself up. So just going to switch legs. So you're going to take the right heel towards the left bum cheek, left leg over the top. Give yourself a little wiggle if you need to, and then sit the pelvis back down. If that feels uncomfortable for knees or hips, come to cross leg with the left leg in front or into your pigeon pose. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, fold yourself forwards. Keep imagining that your pelvis is trying to draw back, so trying to keep both sit bones connected to the ground. Listen into your breath. And let go of any worries or to-do lists that you have for today. Let it all go. Gently walking the hands back. Taking the left hand to the floor behind you, right arm goes across the left leg. Take an inhale to lengthen, exhale to rotate to the left hand side. Another breath in. And the last exhale takes you over towards the right hand side. Just to derotate and bring the body back. Just unraveling the legs. Taking the feet towards the front of the mat and shuffling your way so you've got some space behind you. And then just bring yourself down to the mat. Once you're there, just bring your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a lovely hug. And sway your knees from side to side. Take anything else that your body might need. And then slowly bring yourself down into your Shavasana, lengthening the legs forwards. And lengthen the arms beside the body. Making any final adjustments so that you're feeling supported, comfortable, and relaxed. Let a long breath in and a long breath out. Indulge in that breathing. Inhale deeply. And exhale completely. Let go. Feel your body against the ground beneath you. And feel the temperature of the air around you. You're going to bring the awareness through the body now. So when I bring the awareness to a part of the body, I want you to notice firstly the temperature of that part of the body, the sensations that make up that part of the body, and the sensations of the clothes against that part of the body, if any. So firstly, bring your awareness to the feet, noticing temperature, how it feels, and the sensations of clothes or bareness. The lower legs, the knees, the thighs, the groin, the hips, and the pelvic bowl, the belly, the lower back, the spine, the chest, the upper back, the shoulders, the upper arms, elbows, forearms, hands, bring awareness to the throat and the neck, to the head, the jaw, cheeks, the eyes, and the forehead. Deeper breath in, a slower breath out. Head drops from side to side. Wiggle fingers and toes when you feel ready to, and then give yourself a long stretch. And roll yourself over onto your right side. Curl the knees into your chest and rest the head on the right arm. Pressing the left hand to the floor, bring yourself up to seated and keep your eyes closed. Take a moment to sit. Bring your hands together, then bring your thumbs to the third eye. Bow your chin down to the chest. Thank you guys. Thanks everyone, thanks so much for joining. I hope you had a lovely time and I hope you have a lovely day ahead. I'll see you again soon. Bye.